In our view, the resolution of the SACP is forcing members of the ANC who are members of the SACP to choose between the ANC and the SACP. So the notion of dual membership doesn't fall away, but the implication of that decision essentially says choose between the ANC and the SACP. We discussed the perspective, the correctness of the alliance with the Communist Party, and that the ANC is a party that leads the National Democratic Revolution. So the Communist Party is not saying that it wants to lead because they want to be at the helm of leading the National Democratic Revolution. So in this particular instance, they don't say they want to contest elections because they want to entrench socialism, which we believe that it's a decision that we cannot persuade them away from if they arrive at that particular conclusion. But our discussions at the level of the National Executive Committee is that we must continue to engage with them, and if we fail, we fail, and it means we must now embark on the new discussion, which is going to be a discussion of how do we deal with a Communist Party that is contesting elections for whatever reasons they will advance as the African National Congress. And we can't waste time on that particular matter. Because if they contest elections, and it will have an implications for the alliance, in our view. So in this particular instance, it's a matter that we need to grapple with and also guide our structures throughout the country on the SACP. For instance, there's a lot of things we share with the Communist Party. We share our strategy in terms of contesting elections. They attend our strategy workshops, but they participate in all the processes led by the ANC in relation to the appointment of public representatives and so on. So this decision will mean that all of those things, for instance, will be reviewed in terms of how we work with them. We're not throwing the towel with regard to the SACP. We point to ideological challenges about the party position. We also point to contradictions this is bringing. But as you would have heard, the General Secretary of the Communist Party is very clear. There's no retreat. They are going for the elections. Even when we met with them, we reported to the NEC that we said we must not go through this path. Let's consider reconfiguration and work out things between the two organizations. They insist on that particular path. But our mandate is that one. All I'm saying is that we may as well fail at some point to persuade them out of this thing of contesting for elections. And when that happens, we are now going to have to look into, in the next 2 weeks, the implications of this decision and how we are going to operate as the two parties going forward. Because there's a lot of implications in relation to this decision. The SACP decision, we are clear that the SACP wants to contest elections. As the ANC, we are opposed to that. All I'm saying is that we may not succeed to persuade them to get out of that resolution. And therefore, what we have decided is that if all it fails, we must now, as the ANC, sit down and decide what are we going to do, of which that's what we're going to do. But we have agreed with the SACP to meet. Now, you can see from the General Secretary that is determined to implement that resolution that they have taken. That resolution have got far-reaching implications for the alliance and the Communist Party in itself. Because that resolution seeks to say, if you look at it, the Communist Party, except for saying to its members, choose between us and the ANC, but it equally says, that resolution, we are now going to contest elections with the ANC. And when you contest elections, it means you contest the ANC. We contest each other on the ground, and so on. So it has got far-reaching implications. And you will see, even in practice, it's a big challenge. So we will talk to the Communist Party as per mandate, but should we fail, the NEC is clear that we must then design intervention. We're going to convene an NEC meeting special to look at local government. That will include the discussion on the SACP decision. And that meeting we are supposed to convene in a fortnight. So, which means we must work flat out with the SACP, and then when we go to the NEC, akuzube kuteketwa, sabe sithetha into ecacileyo with no ambiguity, ukuthi how do we move forward, and the implications of that decision. The Communist Party is not saying to us, that we are contesting because you are failing to reconfigure. Even that reconfiguration, which we agreed we must discuss, and so on, it's not clearly defined. That if reconfiguration is about co-governing, and because of that we disagree over that, because we have understood from the onset that there is no issue with regard to who leads the NDR. It's the ANC, the National Democratic Revolution. We are not fighting over that. There's no issue about who leads the struggle for socialism. It's the Communist Party. If the Communist Party says we are contesting elections because we're contesting for socialism, there's nothing the ANC can do about that because it's who they are. But they have not said that. They say they are contesting for state power. That's what I've heard. State power means now something different altogether. It means something different altogether. So that's the clarity that we seek in this particular instance. So they have not said, the SACP, we are contesting elections because we want contest for socialism, which is within their right. And we think that this socialism we want, we're not going to realize it if we are in alliance with the ANC as a liberation movement. And that this thing of the NDR, let them go on their own. Because what they are doing, they are then creating a vacuum of left communists in the African National Congress, as it is. So they are creating that vacuum, they leave it to who? Because they are now creating a crisis for the left inside the African National Congress. And then they are then saying, communists in the ANC choose between the ANC and the Communist Party. And then they leave. So then who's going to occupy that space? And if they believe that the ANC is so weak today, such that they must then ascend to a pedestal of contesting for power, working with others, I don't know with who, not the ANC. Because there's no left here in this country. It's in paper. People call themselves left. They are not left, these people. Do you call Zuma left? Zuma is not left. A man who leaves the country and go and endorse a right-wing government that oppresses people. Morocco, you call that left? That's not left. For the rest of our lives, when we joined this thing, we joined it because we were fighting, among others, colonialism. There are people of Western Sahara colonized by Morocco and oppressed. Zuma, coming from the liberation movement, Zuma, goes there and say, no, everything is fine, gentlemen. What happened to this man was a president, deputy secretary general of the ANC that says, we are anti this. He goes, form a Nomgogwana there, in a corner, disorganize this ANC, take some numbers, fight for it to be out of power. In no time, he's knocking in Morocco, endorsing them in a press conference. He doesn't even read a statement. He's got a special advisor who reads on his behalf. But Kuba, bati bayazabalaza. Uban Lamfo, ebefundela uZuma pa. Makasela, he's also from here. The ANC, he reads there and even defend that thing on Twitter. Dabona ukuthi ababantu bathengisa kudala. These people have been selling out while sitting here in the ANC. How can you suffer from such damaged consciousness in a short space of time? What is it that Morocco is giving these people? Izawuvela ngenye imini what they got there. And then you come and say that is left. There's no left there. The real left here is the ANC. And then the Communist Party, through its decision, says, no, we are leaving, and then we are going, and all of that, and then we are going to contest state power. There's no state power. Look at the elections in Seshego. Communist Party contested there. Leave the numbers they got. Why will communists isolate themselves and then from the liberation movement abandon the ship, leave the ANC and go and contest? You should be contesting here, inside, and fight to win your ideas here in the ANC and maintain it. The party has never been chasing numbers. And it might as well not get the numbers they want. When they come back on the other side, they look at this ANC, and then we have left this ANC with whoever that we have left it with. When you come from the other side, Communist Party has never chased numbers, and that is why we are not shocked when they get 70 in a ward. Because these are the people who have always been here teaching us the most advanced layer of leadership in the ANC is communists. That is why at some point it was not pronounced. In the 40s, the Youth League, Mandela, were chasing communists up until Kotani brought sense into his head. Wamkhabulis. Uguti, hey, this thing you are doing is wrong. And then he only then learned that Ntate Kotani is a communist. He was in the ANC, General Secretary of the African National Congress, advanced. They were not pronounced. To join the Communist Party was in secrecy. You will only learn later that this man is a communist. But Thabo Mbeki, they were communists. The last conference of the Communist Party in Cuba was chaired by Thabo Mbeki. So when the communists decide to leave the ANC, it's a sad moment for our revolution. the African National Congress and our revolution here in South Africa. It's sad that such a thing can happen.